Hi, I'm Kiara.
And I'm Rohan now.
Welcome to The Long Take. This week we're discussing the newish Kartik, Aaryan and Kiara Advani movie, Satyaprem Ki Katha, which I think was like a couple of months in theaters back, which is a standard sort of procedure before they arrive on streaming, and now it has on Prime Video, which is why we're discussing it now. Yeah, I don't want to I don't know how to start because I'm like actively like nauseated by this movie. So why don't you just take over, Rohan?
I was going to conveniently hand it over to you, considering how incensed you were about this.
Is there anything redeeming about this movie? Like one facet?
I thought about it. I mean, the obvious answer would be the last literally 3 minutes where he.
where the text on black
No, just before that.
or
When,
just before like that's the only it's like when it becomes a
last,
documentary then it's good.
when it ends, when the names come
When
up.
it ends. I
No,
think
but
some of the
then.
movies like I didn't even know what this was about. I don't know if they revealed this in the trailer. Like
No,
that
they did
she
not.
goes
They didn't
goes through this.
reveal what happened to her.
So the movie is sold as basically like guy who knows nothing goes for the hottest girl in town.
Basically, but I do remember that they were playing this element quite hard, which itself as a marketing tool is very off-putting. Like, ooh, like what happened to her? Watch the movie to find out, like that.
Right. Okay. So, but no, they were at least giving you that much that something has
They
happened to
were,
her.
they were,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Because when I started the movie, had no clue what the movie's about. I just thought it's like actually a love story, like one of those vapid movies, which Bollywood churns out now and then every few months. And then when I started, I was like, okay, like I want to give up in like 10 seconds because it's literally like it wants to like make you run away from the start. Like this is one of those rare movies where the male character gets an item number. I'm like, what is happening?
Which I'm not 100% sure about this, but that song that the movie starts with, apparently it was filmed like 10 days before release.
So otherwise the movie starts off where? Like he's
Like
sleeping?
I don't know, like a regular movie. I don't know if the sleeping
Like
thing
a
was
regular
also.
movie. Because it's not like it's a regular movie after that, right? It's
No.
he's basically a good for nothing person who has decided and has put his sights on like the other end of the spectrum in town. And the movie obliges and says, yes, she's yours.
Yeah. And in the process,
Through no like achievement of his own. No like like he goes through an arc in the movie and then becomes
no.
better and impresses her in some way. Nope, he does virtually nothing. If anything, he does things she does not want him to do.
Yeah. So it's one thing for a loser to kind of fail upwards in
Yeah,
life.
which is basically like our industry, the industry we're talking about, the meta joke in a way.
But then it's a whole different thing for the loser to fail upwards while simultaneously a regular ass woman is being like whipped in public almost. Like, which is what this movie does. It's like humiliates the Katha character like repeatedly. Her 10 minutes ke baad, it kind of, it's almost abusive.
Yeah, it is
And
like that's what I was thinking. I was like, it's like you want to appear as if you are sort of progressive and you want to talk about like these heavy subjects that like sure our industry ignores mostly, but then you're doing it in such a triggering and like actively nauseating fashion that I'm just like, I don't trust you at all to like handle this for 2 minutes, let alone 2 hours and 20 minutes.
in fact, when the marriage proposal comes to him, and there's a part of him that's like, there's something fishy going on. Why are you coming to me? And then the father says that, oh, तेरे को मतलब ये तो upward mobility का opportunity है. So just go along with it.
And then 30
So
seconds later, he's like full giddy.
he's giddy. No, but then I'm so confused. Like with these small things, like obviously we'll come to the major problems, but like even as like a regular story, you have already told me that this person is obsessed with Katha, right? Forget कि वो stalkery भी है, creepy भी है, he breaks into her house, all those things, you know. But even if I'm supposed to buy the fact that he's obsessed with her, then why is he like? Why do we need to introduce the upward mobility angle at all?
Yeah.
Like, shouldn't he just be like, "आ गई है ये for me, let's move on." Why does he need like to be egged on? कि वो तेरे को पैसे मिलेंगे, you know, like you'll be rich, your father-in-law will die in 5 years, all those
So I
things.
want to throw you into
Like
stuff
ये
that
क्या?
basically doesn't matter, right? Like why is, as you're saying, like what does that contribute to the movie? Like if you really analyze it, if the movie are inherently about like in a way like a Me Too movie where like you're trying to look at like what women go through, then having it's almost like I was looking at this and I was wondering that I feel like the movie sometimes like work extra hard to ensure that Sattu doesn't become a peripheral character, I think.
Peripheral though, I'm not sure, but like it does seem to be working hard to not turn him into a villain, which is what a lot of these movies do, right? Like they'll
Yeah, which is like in a way, if not a villain, he should be at least like like he keeps proclaiming. I think in the second half he does a lot more. He's like, "I will be your supporting hero. I'll be your supporting hero." I'm like, "तू इस movie में supporting hero
no,
क्यों
but
नहीं
he
है?"
does.
Like, why does Sattu deserve to be the protagonist of this movie? Like this movie, if it's really want to talk about like what women go through, then why is Kiara Advani not the sole
Of
lead?
course.
Just because it's a Bollywood like major production.
No,
That's
no.
all.
So you're absolutely right. That is the biggest problem of this movie is that it doesn't know who the protagonist is, right? But the support.
So in a way, then your the thing you're trying to talk about, your industry itself is damaging your take on it.
No, it's not even just the industry, right? These people don't know any better, so it's all like performative wokeness, right? Like कल को कुछ
Yeah.
और opportunity आएगा, they'll be like, हाँ, this is what we believe in now, and now pay us money. Anyway, what I'm saying is that the supporting actor in your story thing happens in the last 2 minutes. He doesn't say that before.
I think there's this one point at one point where I think he brings it up before. I think there's two mentions. There's obviously one mention at the very end.
Before that, when they're doing the lawyer thing, he says कि hero मैं कैसा hero अगर मैं अपनी heroine को नहीं बचा पाऊँ, which is the opposite of what the supporting hero.
Yeah, which is why he's basically reasserting his importance.
Yeah, he's reasserting the importance, and he's
in at the moment in the movie where like the female character has basically like opened herself up and made herself vulnerable and actually like revealed what happened to her. He's putting himself in center again. Like that's what I was also like amazed by is how like the movie is blind to the fact that this character keeps putting himself and keeps making things about himself when clearly the movie is about her.
Like, why are we watching this story unfold through this dude's perspective? He isn't even fascinating in any way. He's actually like useless. मुझे वो समझ नहीं आ रहा. But then also I don't know if that is because it's a deliberate choice to pull the rug from under your feet right at the end, or if it's something that they actually think is a fairly like intelligent way to.
I think they actually want to do this because it's almost like I think the line that sort of gave it away for me, but maybe I'm reading it incorrectly, is that when she starts believing in what the movie believes, right?
She always believes. She's never protesting.
For the longest time she doesn't, right? She doesn't want. I mean, for at least like a good chunk of the movie, she doesn't want anything to do with him. That's why she's keeping pushing him and like you sleep separately and all that. But and eventually she delivers a line, which is basically I think the movie's message, is that we need zeros like him, right? Which is a dialogue given to her. And I'm like, oh, is that what you want to talk about? Is that we need losers like Sattu because they are just better than assholes? I'm like, that's it. That's your take.
I don't know if that is even the overarching theme of this movie. I genuinely feel that this movie is misguided in so many ways, and one of them is obviously like it wants to be appreciated for something that really doesn't warrant appreciation.
Yeah. Because it takes no effort to like portray it in a fashion that allows.
What is the alternative? She's like, firstly, for him marriage equals sex, right? It's not like I want to
sex and like conquest, I would say, right? He literally thinks of it as like, because that's why he's giddy, right? In those scenes, he's like, oh, I have achieved like, I have married the person who's like the most desirable person in the world. And this is like, the movie's like so triggering because like for a movie that actively deals with like suicide so much, every 5 minutes, a character who has not thought about suicide throws a suicide as a joke. So the dad throws suicide as a joke, like, I'll kill myself if you don't do this. Then, Sattu does that. Sattu's like, this sex nahi milega, so I might as well kill myself. I'm like, do you even understand what you're saying? You're sitting in a room with a person who actually tried to kill themselves. And you're saying this as a joke right now.
See, I will buy that. I don't think I have a, because of those characters obviously don't know any better, right? It's not like the father is.
No, but if they don't know any better, then he doesn't deserve to get this girl.
He
Then he should
doesn't
like.
know, but then that's the movie is trying to kind of transform him, right? So I don't have a problem with Tumara character is starting off as an idiot, right? A clueless idiot who doesn't know how to handle delicate situations, right?
Right.
And we've seen this multiple times in recent movies. I don't know if, like, we did Jayesh Bhai Jordar, right? We had a similar
Yeah.
thing with that. Then there was this Akshay Kumar movie. Obviously, Bawal is the most
I haven't
recent.
seen that one.
Similarly, you know, as a small town guy whose wife has epilepsy and he kind of abandons her, right? And towards the end, he's kind of redeemed because he's discovered that the Holocaust is worse than what he's going through, which is having a wife with a it's insane.
Yeah. Like you're just saying those lines. I'm just like, yeah, I can't watch this thing.
Exactly. So in this one also, it's like, oh, so you have a wife who is obviously in a very, very troubled state, right? And she does not want to have sex with you for whatever reason, uski marzi. And she says no, and you are such an angel that you have acknowledged the absence of consent and you have not protested. And for that itself, this movie is like, wow, what an observation. Now give us 10 Oscars. Like we are.
Yeah, I think like that's you never know. And it's also I feel like what it's doing, like or if you just like the way you chronicle all these movies, is that in a way it's celebrating these Indian men, like this obviously which like comprises a huge part of our population who are capable of nothing and are feel empty inside. They know they have like no like qualities or no discerning qualities. And the movies are talking to them and saying, you're okay, bro. This country is for you. Like you will be fine in the society.
What's more annoying than celebrating? I don't particularly have a problem with you have a loser and you're like championing that loser for whatever reason. Obviously, if you do it in this way, it's not okay. But then what's more annoying in this particular situation is just to champion this character Sattu, it actively punishes the Katha character. Now that is something I don't understand. Like she has to go through, like she is like the living embodiment of long-suffering woman, right? She is doing nothing else in the entire movie except suffering.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a single moment where maybe those song sequences, but
that's it. Which is like they're never revisited, right? They only happen in the beginning and the end.
Yeah. So she's like fully in trauma the entire time, and watching it, I was like, it's very difficult to watch, right? I don't know if you understand it, like the movie understands it, but it is very difficult just to watch it. And those scenes in which she's like, nahi, like get away from me types, and even the relative when she comes over towards the end, and suddenly in that scene Gajraj Rao turns into a villain. Like ye kab hua? Pehle to theek hi tha, he was like harmless dude, whatever, you know, casually matlab sexist tha, but like towards
I don't know, I
the
felt
end,
like he was going towards us slowly. Like I could see that happening.
you saw it. I was like stunned. I was like, ye kab hua? Did he just
No, I feel like I don't know, maybe like the way he was talking and the things he was saying, I feel like I could see that he was sliding towards like, because he was getting annoyed. He was like, because he had seen it happen, right? Because the sister hadn't shown up like for a while, like the who comes from America, Christmas. But he has always been there, so he had seen that bar she's sending him like raat ko niche and he's not sleeping. Like I feel like he was getting angry slowly and slowly. What the hell is happening?
So then he lashes out at her, right? And that scene is like where I was like fuming. Okay, I understand the point that you're trying to make is that people are judgmental, they're like insensitive to a lot of these things and they don't know how to handle it. They're very ashamed, right, on others' behalf.
Yeah, and
I understand
what was pointed to me
saying.
as well, which they captured in like sort of like which I don't know, they did accidentally or intentionally, but sort of like they pulled out and in that frame there's like 4 women, because it's like the sister, the like Sattu sister and the mother and then the mother's sister, and it's only Gajraj Rao, and I'm like, this is like, and you're talking about like things like that which like society is not accepting. I'm like, right now you have a moment here to actually like build on something, but obviously I don't think they could identify that they had that.
No, but the mother character pops up, no, then in that scene. She's like, you can't do this. To Gajraj Rao, like Sattu's mom. She suddenly becomes this beacon of like, suddenly, like जैसे ही Gajraj Rao का transformation होता है, वैसे ही उसका भी होता है. But anyway, so the whole scene is just so, because and I know what they were trying to communicate, but just the way, just the casual, like, carelessness with which they kind of again punished the Katha character, right? By
And what I
just
found more annoying about the scene is its split screen counterpart where
he's
Sattu has
beating up
gone
people.
to the Kapadia household and revealed it. I'm like, this is taking agency away from your wife, right? When did she say she was okay, like you going and telling them what happened to her? Like,
No, he does that, and then first of all, he on his own goes and beats up the person. The
which is again like problematic in so many ways. It's a reflection of how India reacts, right? It's like whenever rape happens, they like hang the rapist. I'm like, that's not the answer.
I mean, like, no part of me wants this creative team to handle a legal scenario
There's no
at
way.
all,
Like they've already done so
considering.
many like troubling things where I was triggered. I was like, I don't trust you at all. Like for a movie that treats like killing yourself so callously again and again. For a movie which like talks about what at least not doesn't a female agency, but at least like feminism in a way, or like like the abuse that
Just
women put up with.
actively
Yeah,
anti-feminist.
it's active again and again. Like we already talked about the two instances. If you actually cared about your wife who you're trying to like be protective over, you would ask her and be like, is it okay if I go to your like dad's and then say this? Is it okay or like if I go and beat him up? Like, and she said yeah, no, then you would just stay home. Stop trying to like do things she hasn't asked you to do, which like movie even addresses after he comes back like with the blood. Movie's like she's like, did you go beat up like Tapan? And at no point he's like, oh sorry, I didn't ask you, I just like did that as a in a fit of rage or something. No, he believes he's done a good thing.
He believes he's done a good thing, and the movie also partially believes that it's justifiable for him to have done it, even if he did not take permission. And
yeah, which you can tell from how the scene is directed, how the score is fashioned and everything, right? You can tell it's like this is a hero moment.
Yeah, him beating up the person is fully.
He's having a hero moment inside. Like,
yeah, ताली मारने वाला moment बनाया हुआ है ना
exactly. And it's just the annoying like handling of this. Like this is not okay. Like stop egging people on that. Like that's what they're perpetuating now. Is that, and you're literally like in a way validating people's beliefs that okay, if someone like close to you like gets raped or gets abused, you should go like kill the rapist. No.
Yeah, but that's something I can't like. It's not my position to kind of even begin to figure out how to address those things. But like I can obviously talk about what he does in the movie and what he does towards the end and how the movie reacts to what he does, right? And towards the end, when the movie has him kind of say that I have been talking on your behalf, and which is, I'm like, yeah, of course, but now it's too late. But then even when he says that, there's not enough like remorse. It's just he's just again declaring it, right? Ke, oh, maine aise kiya.
And even the way he brings it up is annoying, right? Again, that's taking agency. Like, why would you bringing up such a public in the public? Like, oh look, I filed a court and you must sign the documents. Like, bring it up privately. That like I'm considering filing like
No, that is fully insane.
That should be happening indoors, inside a bedroom. Like it should not be happening in front of 1,000 people she doesn't want them to know.
No, but वो करो तुम 1,000 लोगों के सामने करो, 2,000 लोगों के सामने करो, but at least ask her, no, god damn it.
Yeah.
She doesn't ask her, like he just blurts it out in front of everybody, and then he goes around, he's like, and she doesn't say anything. How dare you what the hell do you just do? Right, but then 5 minutes later when he's like, oh, I've been speaking on your behalf, the movie wants us, the audience, to be like, oh, of course, what a nice person, he's admitted his mistake also.
Yeah.
It's never about Katha. It's never about, oh, bichari, like usko, like how.
Yeah, what did she feel? Like how is she feeling right now? Like what does she actually want? None of that, right? It's all.
He has said that it's your story, you take the reins. The movie itself does not believe it, because it's again focusing on what he has said and what he has done for her and what he will do for her. I'm like, ho gaya, dude. I'm tired. Like there's no like redeeming quality in this film, right? And I don't you didn't know what you were getting into, but did you like later discover that people have actually liked it?
Yeah, that's what I discovered. I discovered 10 minutes before we started recording, because I was trying to like round up, just like ensure that we are crossing our I's and dotting our I's and crossing our T's. So then it's going through like stuff, and I was like, wait, people are giving, it's like not even like mixed reviews. The consensus is positive reviews, and I was aghast. And I was like, I don't know how to like react to our fellow critics anymore at this point.
I don't know
Like,
what.
how do I be in a room with these people one day? I'm just concerned to be like that there are film critics who I'm assuming have studied, some form of film history beyond India, who have watched, like, you obviously that's what you would expect, right? They've seen at least one movie before the 1980s, is what I expect of a film critic. One,
I don't know, honestly, but I can't understand how anybody would watch this and be like, huh, it's not just okay, passable, but like actively like, wow, what a.
Yeah, like actively, wow. Like, how do you reach that level? Like, say mediocre, like, be like, okay, that song was bad. Like, I'll take that at least. Itna to de do mujhe. Be like, how did they forget, like, that Kiara wanted a singing career? Like, bring that up,
How
It's a
about the fact that
feminist
she did
movie.
not want to get married and she was basically forced into marriage?
Yeah, like, kuch to recognize karo. Are you still in your 80s and 70s mindset where you're like, women are property to be like discarded? Like, notice that how the dad is behaving like a full-on villain from like a 80s or a 70s horror movie. He's literally shipping her off. He's like, go please, otherwise I'll kill myself.
Go please, palms her off, and she is then treated like damaged goods, right?
Yeah, it's not like she's like, like a normal girl which happens in every other horror movie, right? They ship her off because like तुम्हारा age हो गया है. No, this is person who tried to kill herself 2 days ago, and now you're like, please leave. I don't care about your mental health.
I mean, see, in fairness, the movie does not project the parents as nice people. So
no, at least like the dad. I think the mother's just like
she doesn't have a say, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't project the father as a nice person, but then it doesn't do enough to kind of punish the father either for the horrific, treatment that he's.
Yeah, he's around, right? Like, I don't expect him to be around.
Because it's.
If she's really come into her own and now she's found confident by the end of the movie, he should not be around at that ceremony.
He should not be like a part of her life, correct?
Exactly. Like, if he's part of her life, how is she forgiving him?
It's insane.
When did that happen?
Because what she goes through happens off screen and basically before the movie begins, right? But what we see is the aftermath of the abuse, right? Which is in a way a different form of abuse, right? And she is made to go through it over and over again, and this is happening not because of some random like idiot asshole dude, but it's happening because the people who are like her own family and the person,
and this new family, basically strangers, like 4 strangers. She's like gone from like having her own room to like having 5 inches of space.
So now we are being forced to watch 2.5 hours of this woman go through just repeated.
She's basically an open air prison if you look at it, right? Because she's like was super rich, and now suddenly she's like in the middle of nowhere, and she's like knows no one around, has no friends basically, right? Cut off from her own world. And now she's like surrounded by strangers who are expecting her to like make food, play nice, and have sex with the husband.
Yeah. Nobody bothers to ask you,
like, just like the ramifications of the sentence I just said, like that's in itself is mental torture.
It is. And I don't understand how they've kind of spun this movie into being like, oh, what a cute like romance.
Oh, look, Kartik Aaryan smiles and like flashes a grin every 5 minutes. I'm like, no, I want to punch this person right now. Like, sit down, consider what you're doing, let her go, or let her just like be like, ye lo paise, just go anywhere.
It's very strange.
Like, if your father's an asshole, you can't go back home. You don't have to live with us because it's traumatic. Just go anywhere, like, but at least you'll be free.
It's kind of disturbing, that a movie like this is made, and B, apparently it gets away with it. That's more disturbing actually.
Which then in a way like just says everything we like. We are thinking better of ourselves. Right? We're like, our world is at least better. This movie is garbage, but no, like if the garbage movie is getting praise, then what does that say about our world?
Sometimes what happens is a bad movie will make money, and then people will be like, "Oh, it's a bad movie," but here
at least dunk on it.
Here it's not that even, right? It's made money, and then people have said it's a good movie. So now I'm like wondering if I'm living in a loony world. What is happening?
No, I'm wondering who are these people I'm living around? Who am I surrounded by? Who are these these movies actually good?
Who liked this? And it's very strange, right? People did not like Bawal that came out literally like a month ago. And then this movie is also like similar timing.
I mean, in front of this like movie, like the Guilty looks like a masterpiece, the Netflix movie, which like dealt with similar
Guilty
things and also
had
had
its
Kiara Advani.
heart in the right place.
Yeah, and at least the movie was from the person who got abused perspective.
Yeah. So then it's see, once that is clear, then the character is free to do whatever they want, but because at least they are
Yeah.
doing it, right? यहाँ पे तो उनके behalf पे किया जा रहा है. So you can't even be like, I would like to believe that there was at least one person on set who was like, I know I'm part of an insane movie, but I can't say
No,
something.
I'm sure those people, like more than one person exists, but they're not in the power position.
Power position is just a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
Just literally is made by a dude,
Yeah.
like written by a dude, starring a dude. And I mean, I guess it's ironic because we are also two dudes talking
Yeah.
about it, but whatever. हम बना नहीं रहे ना picture.
Exactly. At least we have that self-awareness.
चलो then I guess.
Yeah. Time to wrap it up.
Yep.
That's all for this episode of The Long Take. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Threads at The Long Take Pod. You can write to us at thelongtakepod@gmail.com. Please leave us a rating and a review wherever you listen to the episode, and we will see you next week.